Have we finally hit our floor in inventory levels available in Ada County's existing housing market? Stay tuned to find out more in this week's segment of Market Watch. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's Joshua Barks with Keller Williams Realty Boise and the Barks & Co. Real Estate team, here to bring you this week's segment of Market Watch, where we talk about the numbers on what's happening in Ada County's existing housing market and answer your questions that you send in. So this week, we actually saw inventory levels rise very slightly, but it was an increase for the first time in 19 consecutive weeks. So inventory, we had 246 available homes on the market, and last week we only had 241. We had 168 new listings hit the market in the last 7 days, whereas the week before we only had 149 new listings hit the market. We were averaging about 200 new listings a week through the summer months, so like 180, 190, etc., though we've been steadily tapering off on that as well. So it's really nice to see that that number is starting to increase also. And demand has come down slightly, though staying pretty consistent. We have 895 homes that are under contract overall in Ada County, whereas we had 939 last week. That's largely due to we had 220 sales, so 220 homes closed in the last 7 days. So that's a big impact of that, where we typically see closer in the higher 100. So last week we had 184 close. This week we had 220 close. So the interesting thing to note about the demand is that the number of pendings that went under contract is 189. Now, the reason that I bring up that number as being significant is last week we had 207 homes that went under contract in the last 7 days. And this is the first time since May that we've seen that number of under contracts in 7 days go below 200. So what I think is happening right now is people are doing that typical election year on pause. This week could be a fluke, so we'll wait to see what happens next week before we can accurately predict what the trend is. But what we typically see in an election year is people are on pause. They wait to see what's going to happen with the election, and then they move forward with their plans after that's over. And as I had mentioned in, I think it wasn't the last video, but maybe the video before that, the election year this year should be no different, though we are still seeing stronger numbers than we typically see. So when you look at the 895 number of under contracts for this week, or overall, what we saw this same time last year was like 700 and something. So it's like 100 more that are pending now than what we saw this time last year. So even though demand is coming down slightly, so softened from 207 to 189, we're still seeing an increase year over year. Same with the number of sold homes. We had like 900 almost that's closed in the month of September for 2020, whereas last September we only had like 695 close. So we're up 100-ish, give or take probably 50, because I don't have the exact number right in front of me right at this moment, but we are up in both sales and pendings while we're significantly down in inventory. So our lowest ever recorded inventory that we've had in Ada County was the 241 homes available that we hit last week. And then typically what we see this time of year is about 900 available homes in Ada County. So that has come down, and demand is still approximately 3 times as strong as what we have available. So we still need way more homes to come on the market, even though inventory is increasing and demand appears to be decreasing slightly. I anticipate this to be, again, one of those things that's on pause momentarily for the election, but still an incredible time to sell and a great time to buy, because interest rates also hit another all-time historic low. Freddie Mac just put out a report that said that they are averaging 2.81, so just above 2.8, whereas they were hovering right at 2.9 for the last several weeks. So 2.81 for the 30-year fixed, which is incredible. So it's still a great time to borrow money, refinance, things like that. So that's still moving. And even if inventory came up significantly, say it even doubled, we'd still have a tight market. So it's still an incredible time to sell. And if you're looking to buy, it's still a good fight out there. So make sure you have an agent that knows how to navigate this crazy market, or you're going to be making offers pretty much for no reason, because if you don't have an agent that knows how to negotiate those offers with the listing agent and put you in the best position to move forward with the seller to have at least your offer be considered, that's going to be very tough for you. So make sure you're asking the right questions. If you want to know some of those tips and tricks, maybe I'll include that in a future video. And of course, as always, if you have any questions and if there's something you want to see me cover, please let me know. My number is 208-914-1095. Feel free to call or text anytime. And of course, you can always email me or comment on this video below if you're seeing it on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and to subscribe as well. And we will see you next week. Everyone have a fantastic fall weekend.